Alright, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video on the Flow of Consciousness YouTube channel. And today we will be talking about life. And life is a very general topic, I know that. But I want to take you on a journey with me where I describe life in terms of a movie, in terms of a script that you write as you are progressing your life, right? So it's a very helpful framework for me to use sometimes. Why? Because when you see your life as a movie, you understand that just like in your favorite movie, the character goes through a lot of different challenges, a lot of different stages, a lot of different phases. And this is what shapes the character. So there is a storyline, a character development over time. And this means that the character goes through different emotional periods, different challenges. They come across their nemesis maybe, they come across the love of their life, they suffer from loss and grievance and hardship, and all these things come together. And this is what creates a nice, interesting storyline, right? You would not want to watch a movie where the main character wakes up, goes through an endless loop of infinite pleasure, and then the movie stops. That would be so boring. At least for me, it would be the most boring movie to watch, right? Initially, it might be fun to watch it. Oh, wow, so many cool things happening. But there has to be challenge, there has to be challenges to overcome, there has to be a development of the character, learning, a process of maturing, you know. So if you can see your life as a movie that's unfolding, and if you understand that you can co-create the script of your life, of your movie, you can co-create the script of your movie. What I mean by this, life happens, the world spins, people do what they do, everything is in a way random. It's the things that are able or possible to happen, they are infinite, right? So because this is the case, you as a person can choose consciously to do things within this sphere of infinite possibilities. So this is why I say co-create your script. It's because things come your way, and then you can make a decision whether you want to engage with these things or not, right? And of course, then there is the question, is your choice to engage with a certain thing actually even yours? That's a whole other topic. However, for the sake of argument, for the sake of this video, let's assume that you consciously choose to engage with something that comes your way, right? So this means that there is the infinite stream of life happening, and then there is your conscious decision making, which there's always these forks in your life. You can choose love or you can choose fear. You can choose love or you can choose fear. And you can continue to do this until you die, basically, right? So the question I want you to ask yourself is, do you want to live a life of courage and love and compassion, or do you want to live a life that is in darkness, that is lived in fear? Do you want to make a decision to live your life authentically, or do you want to live your life in darkness? For myself, I know I want to live my life authentically. I want to live my life creatively. I want to live a creative life. I want to live a life that is filled with meaning and purpose and excitement and hardship and sadness and loss and grief. But I want to approach these situations with courage, and I want to approach these situations with a mindset of love, of appreciation for the depth and the richness of the life that you're living, right? I'm not saying that any of the two is the right choice. I want you to think about this for yourself. And then whenever you make this choice, try to commit to it as much as you can. And it's perfectly okay to sometimes fall off track. I do it too sometimes. Sometimes, a lot of times, in different phases, depending on the stage of my life, depending on the chapter of the movie, you can choose to live your life more in fear, or you can then move from the fear to love, right? So sometimes I choose to live my life more in fear. Why? Because I'm so afraid, right? So then I make decisions that are based in fear, that are rooted in fear. So I choose fear over love. And I need to give myself the time to accept this stage and then to move past it. So I want to invite you to do the same whenever you feel yourself, whenever you find yourself in a stage of fear and contraction. Allow yourself to be in that phase. Experiment. Understand that your life is a movie. So in order to make that movie interesting, there has to be a dynamic. It has to be dynamic. There has to be phases which contract, and then there are phases which expand. And this is causing a natural, interesting rhythm in your personal movie, right? Now, the idea of seeing your life as a movie that you co-create, the script you write together as life is happening, as life is unfolding, this allows for two things. It allows for a sense of agency, a sense of I can take responsibility and grab life by the balls and make things happen. And then there is a side of faith and trust and mystery and wonder. And I believe that if we can balance these two, if we can align them, if we can create an alignment between the faith and the trust we have in life and our own conscious decision-making system, if you can align those, that is what leads to a purposeful, driven life, right? At least that is how it is for me. What do I mean by that? I now, as I'm creating this YouTube channel for you guys, I understood that a lot of things that I did during my past was actually preparing me to do this, as strangely as it sounds. It's like Steve Jobs says it, you can never connect the dots forward, but you can always connect the dots backwards, right? So now when I look back, I understand that almost on a subconscious level, I was preparing myself to get to this point. I was traveling a lot, I bought a camera, I was looking if I could find meaning and pleasure in a more hedonistic lifestyle, where with a lot of parties and girls and food and drugs and everything. And I realized that my meaning and purpose is not to be found there. However, I needed this chapter in the movie that is called Wolf. I needed this chapter in order to arrive at a more mature stage where I can understand that, okay, this was a fun scene, let's say. It was a fun scene, but it can be the whole movie. The scene can't extend over the whole movie because that will make it boring, meaningless, and ultimately exhausting even, right? You would start to get tremendously bored. You would be like, oh, okay, another party scene. Well, I've seen those like 10 times now, so it's okay. Let's move on to something more interesting, right? And by understanding this idea of your life being a movie, it allows you to accept all the different stages. Sometimes it's a little bit, when you're watching a movie, sometimes a scene can be quite boring. Or you could ask yourself, what is the purpose of this part in the movie as it's unfolding? If you watch a movie for the first time, you can watch a scene and be like, what's happening here? I really don't understand. Or, okay, let's see what's going on. I'm still not sure what is the purpose of these things happening, etc., etc. But then, as the movie unfolds, you start to understand that, oh, of course, this makes total sense now, right? You connect the dots backwards. It's the same thing in your own life. You're going through a scene that might be strange or weird or boring or challenging, but it's a necessary scene, it's a necessary stage for you to then arrive in the next phase. And if you can combine your conscious decision-making systems with the fate you have in life as it unfolds, when you can align these, it generates a sense of peace, inner knowing. And sometimes even when it gets very stormy and there's lots of turmoil, or you feel unmotivated or confused or sad, the past few days I felt like that. That's also why I'm talking about this. There is still this inner knowing, this intuition that, okay, even though I am struggling with this right now, even though you are maybe struggling with certain things in your life, you feel stuck, you feel confused, if you can adopt the mindset that, okay, my life is a movie and I co-create my life with life. I co-create my life with life. I move alongside with it. And if I can make friends with that, if I can let go of trying to completely control it, because that is where you get stuck, where it gets rigid, right? You have to, it's like a horse. You can guide a horse and you let the leash loose and it will follow your guide, right? But if you try to pull it, it will resist. If you try to pull, the horse will try to resist because you're trying to control it too much, right? You want it to guide it gently, and then things will come your way and you can decide to engage with those things or not, depending on the stage you're in, and you will see that they will take you exactly where they need to take you. If you have faith, if you believe that this is how life unfolds, it takes away so much of the pressure, so much of the stress you feel, so much of the worry. And of course, sometimes I still worry. Of course, you will still worry. But if you let go of the need for this rigid control, if you can allow yourself to accept that, okay, sometimes things will go great, sometimes things will go less great, but that's all part of the bigger movie that is my life. And that's what keeps it interesting. Because trust me, if sometimes people think that, oh, if only I could be on the beach sipping margaritas all day, I don't think you would enjoy that very much. Maybe for a week or two, 3, maybe even 2 months, who knows. But after a while, you start to think, is this really what I'm here for? And I guarantee that this is not why you're here. There is so many things that you, as you, are meant to go through, are meant to experience. And yes, sipping a margarita on the beach might be a small part of that, but it's not the whole storyline. And if you can allow yourself to move with grace through every scene, through every chapter, and you understand that it's a necessary part of the whole movie, then this can give you a sense of inner peace, inner knowing. And you can cultivate this trust by sitting in silence, by tapping into your intuition, by really listening, by really paying attention to the things that you feel are true to yourself or that are a rejection of yourself. And it's absolutely okay to sometimes reject yourself. By doing this, you'll start to become more aware when you do, and the more aware you become, the more conscious choice, the more power you can exercise on making a different choice, right? The more awareness you have, the easier it becomes to exercise your conscious decision systems, right? Because if something is in total darkness, subconscious, then you can't access that. But as you increase your awareness, as you practice noticing yourself doing things that are against your nature or in your nature, that are moving towards fear or that are moving towards love, right? The more you practice this, the more you will feel as you move, the more at peace you will feel as you move closer to the maturization process of your life, to the whole process, the whole cycle of your life, right? And for me, this is a very calming, reassuring thought to have. And I thought I'd share it with you because it served its purpose when I heard this idea from other people. It was useful for me to hear other people talk about this idea because I can then adapt it to my own person, and I could make this mindset my own. And ultimately, this is what I want to be able to do for you guys, is to share how I implement these different ideas, how I make them my own, and then I share them again with you guys so you can do the same with what I tell you. So on that note, I want to end this video, and I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for being brave. Like I said, it's so important. And I want to thank you for working on yourself and thus making the world a better place one step at a time, because we're all ultimately one. And I think that self-love, and it's a term that I don't necessarily like to use because it has so many negative connotations to it. People think, oh, this airy-fairy self-love, let me give myself a hug and a massage and rub some skincare on my face. It's not about that. Self-love is about honoring yourself, honoring your authenticity. And that's what I think it means to practice self-love. And by doing that, you will bring your light forth into this world and absolutely thus make it a better place. So thank you for watching.